Good morning. Good morning. Test. Sound good? All right. Happy Wednesday, April 19th. I hope you guys are having an awesome week and a great start to your second quarter. Thank you to everybody who showed up last week, who came out and brought some clients and people on to our equity seminar, everybody who showed up to the awards banquet on Friday. If you were not able to make it and you have awards that you should have received, they should be in your office. But if they're not, just reach out to me, reach out to Angelique, reach out to Jimmy. We've got your awards and we're going to make sure that we get them to you. So thank you so much for everyone who engaged with us. We've got a great week. A great week this week, a great start to this week so far with our Mastermind Monday and our prescriptive message on the Mastermind Monday class. Let's just review that really quick. Here we go. And our prescriptive message is buyer demand is high in our area and we simply don't have enough inventory in some markets. You know people I don't know. Who do you know who may be moving in the near future? I'd love to talk to them. A really simple, very, very simple, direct message, straight to the point. You know people I don't know. I'd love the opportunity to help them. Who do you know that might be moving in the future? Let's get in contact. Excuse me. So today we're going to talk about sellers. We're going to excuse me. We're going to talk about sellers. We're going to talk about some of the processes, how to influence sellers, what they're looking for, what some things that you could be doing to try and provide a little bit more value to them. So that's going to be a focus of today's class. It's going to be very more seller and listing focused to try to discuss those things and get us more wrapped around this. You're going to be having conversations with people who might be looking to sell, people who might be looking to see what's going on in the market and seeking out your help. So let's start focusing more on the seller side of things so that we can have those conversations a little more clearly and a little bit better. So that is going to be our goal and our focus for today. So we're going to jump in. We're going to share screen and get right into our start off with a couple quotes. The secret to getting ahead is getting started. If you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So really simple. Secret to getting ahead is getting started. If you have not started on your text messages, your video posts, your video messages, your phone calls with the Mastermind prescriptive message of, buyer demand is really high and we need more inventory. Who do you know that might be looking to buy, that might be looking to sell in the near future? I'd love to talk to them. Today's the perfect day to get started. So let's try and get ahead and get started, but you do have from now until the rest of the weekend to be able to do that. All of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. But what is that basically insinuating? It's insinuating that you have dreams. It's insinuating that you know what they are. It's insinuating that you're clear and focused on what they are. They say that Disney got turned down by, I don't know, the number 500 or 1,000 banks before finding someone who would loan him the money for Disney World. So if all of your dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Number 3, the best time to plant a seed was 20 years ago. That's the best time to do it. Unfortunately, we don't have time machines. So the second best time to do it is right now. Start planting those seeds now. The seeds that you're planting now will provide the harvest that you are able to sow later. So let's continue to put those seeds in the ground, start those conversations, have those text messages, those video messages and contacts. It's hard to beat a person who never gives up. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. If people are doubting how far you can go so far you can't hear them anymore. And just some simple numbers. We've been, for the last 6 to 8 months, we've been teetering between 160 and 250 listings, about 160 and 250 listings. That's where we've been at. So our inventory count has come up a little bit, and this is a This is a huge increase from where it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, when we were at 90 to 100 listings on the market as a company. And now this isn't because we're not trying. It's not because we're not putting homes on the market. It's just because the demand is so high, they are selling fairly quickly. One of the stats we talked about a couple weeks ago, about a week or two ago, was that in the beginning of the year, 20%, 25% of the listings that came on the market were sold within the first 2 weeks. Now the stat is nearly 50%. This is a national stat. Nearly 50% of the homes that come on the market within the first 2 weeks are under contract. So it's just showing that there is a shift in a trend towards the buyers becoming more active. We are coming into a more of an active buyer term right now with the spring selling season, spring buying season. Of all of our listings, right now we have 205. We've been on a slow but steady decrease. You're putting homes on the market, but we are selling them. We are selling them at and above listing price. In a lot of cases, we are selling them to multiple offers. So with those homes are selling, and right now our numbers are about 35% of the homes that we've put on the market for the month of April have already sold. So 35% of the listings that we've put on the market in April have already went under contract. So this is why the focus needs to be on listings, because before we had a major demand issue. The demand for homes so incredible. The amount of buyers, every hedge fund, every investor, every homeowner, every buyer that could be moving, anybody who had a job that was stationary before but is now able to work remotely. Interest rates were 2.5% to 3.5%. It's basically like free money. Everybody was trying to buy a home, whether it was for themselves, for an investment, for an Airbnb, for trying to create wealth to create a home, whatever it was, they were trying to buy a home. We had a major demand problem, major demand. Our supply wasn't really the issue. You can't sell the most amount of homes that you've ever sold in a real estate market, 6 million homes, 6.1 million home sales, and have a supply problem. We had a demand problem. Yes, the supply wasn't able to keep up with the demand, but we put so many homes on the market, we just sold them all so quickly. Right now, we are seeing that we are having more of a supply problem. The demand is there, but it's not as overwhelming as the demand was before. So the demand has come down, but we still don't have the supply to meet the normal demand that is there. So now we have the supply problem where we have to continue to go after and focus on the inventory so we can fulfill the supply for the homeowners that are out there buying and looking to borrow for these homes. So whenever you're looking to try and do business with somebody, one of the first things you always have to do is work on building trust with them. People buy with emotion and justify with logic. And the way that you can connect with them is you have to be able to build a rapport with them and build trust with them. First is understanding that a seller is going to sell whenever they decide to sell. They're going to sell when they're ready. Nothing that you do is going to make a seller sell any faster. No market stat is going to make them sell any faster. They're going to sell when they are ready. If the market statistics make them feel ready, that's when they are going to sell. But it's not going to be those statistics that make them sell. It's going to make them feel comfortable. It's going to make them feel like they are ready to sell their home. It's going to be an emotional and logical decision, putting it all together. So your job is to provide a certain level of value and a certain level of connection with them to make them feel comfortable making that decision so that they feel ready, number one, with you as their agent, number two, with the conditions of the market, and number three, with the fact that you are their agent, the conditions of the market, and everything is there, and we are ready and we are prepared for this. Your job is to communicate and connect with them, to get in the way. Right? A buyer and a seller, a buyer is going to buy when they're ready to buy, a seller is going to sell when they're ready to buy. But if you are not in their sphere, in their periphery, in their vision, you're not going to have that opportunity. And that's the whole point of everything that we're trying to get you to do to make them aware of who you are and where you are. So the prescriptive mastermind message is to text a minimum 10 people a day and create a contact with a minimum 10 people a day. You may have to send 20 messages. We all have 500, 800, 1,000, 1,200 people on our phone. It's easy to send 10 messages to get 10 connections and contacts with people, even if you have to send 20 or 30 text messages. They'll reply. It'll be easy. Shoot a quick video, send it back if you want. But your job is to communicate and connect with them and get in the way. All we're trying to do is make you top of mind with them, letting them know what's going on in the real estate market. Hey, don't forget me, I'm in real estate. That's what we're trying to do. We talked in my local meeting, in the Apollo Beach meeting yesterday, we had one of our lenders on who has a down payment assistance program. It's a FHA loan. That's all that it is. There's no requirements other than you have to qualify for an FHA loan. All of this great information, but if we're not providing it to the buyers that are out there and providing it to those people, somebody else will. The example was this woman held an open house where there was a new listing. Wasn't her listing, but she held it open for one of the agents in her office. She went and knocked on doors all around the neighborhood with this down payment assistance flyer that this home qualifies for down payment assistance. This home qualifies for down payment, not the buyer, not anything else. This home qualifies for down payment assistance up to 3.5% of the purchase price towards that down payment assistance. Went around the neighborhood, talked to the homeowners. One of the homeowners that lived near there had a daughter who was going to be looking for a home. It wasn't that home she was going to be looking for, but the fact that she got in front of her and gave her that flyer and they talked, she ended up buying a house. Now, what's the moral here? The moral is that homeowner who bought their house and lives in that neighborhood used a real estate agent when they did it. They had an agent in their sphere. They have an agent who helped them buy that home. They've had an agent who's helped them sell a home before, yet that agent didn't earn their daughter's business because they weren't top of mind. That simple knocking on a door and giving a flyer is what got that newer agent in the door and was able to secure that business because she provided more value than the current agent who had helped them buy that home in the past. You never know what life event is going on in people's lives, which is why it's so imperative that you continue to stay top of mind with them. That's why a seller's going to sell when they're ready to sell. It's your job to connect and communicate with them, get in front of them, make them aware of you so that you can get in the way whenever they are ready to buy or sell, or have someone in their sphere that's ready to buy or sell. The way you do that, get them to like, know, and trust you. How do you get them to like, know, and trust you? Well, build rapport. Ask questions, provide the most value, be the most valuable person in their sphere, in their network when it comes to real estate or even anything else. Just become the most valuable person in their sphere. Use all of your tools. We have a grab bag of tools and tricks to be able to connect with people. We've got the scripts that we are giving you to be able to reach out to them, to reach out to these homeowners. We've got the text messages that you can send them, the videos that you can send them. We've got this equity class. You're able to send them a link to create some more information. We have all of these tools for you to get in front of them. You have daily posts from Mike every single morning. But then on top of that, once you start connecting with them more, that's when you start understanding their personality profile. That's when you understand how they connect. Understand what their DISC is. I can tell by this, they do this job. They always talk like this. When I hear them saying these things, they're saying it about this. It's about, show me this. I want to see that. Or it's about, we just had this feeling that now is the right time. Like, you start hearing those things. So you got to understand, are they visual, auditory, kinesthetic? Your disc profiles. I understand that he's an engineer and he's always sending me bullet points when he sends me an email about the things that he was looking at or questions that he has. Like, so that he's more of a C personality. So we communicate with him in a different way. Mirror and matching. So mirror and match their tonality on the phone, mirror and match the words they're using in a text message, mirror and match the length of the messages they're sending you. There's so many ways that you can use all the tools that you have to connect with these sellers. So your initial message to them, that simple text message of buyer demand is high, or inventory is low, people I don't know, that simple message, that's the start. Now we get them connecting with us, we get them communicating with us. Packed house today, Brian. So we get them connecting and communicating with us. Now that they do that, that's when everything else, that's when the game kicks in. That's when you step up your game and you start paying attention to them. It's about them. Just remember, telling is not selling. You're not here to tell them what's going on in the market, because that's not selling. When you're telling people something, no one wants to be told and no one wants to be sold. So what you're doing is you ask questions. If they ask you questions, you give them a brief answer and ask them a question back. Get them engaging with you and get them asking you, get them answering those questions. And then you can go and use your proper tools to be able to connect with them. Then building trust and influence with them, it's long-term. This is about follow-up. The messages you sent Monday, Tuesday, and the ones you're going to send today, they're not meant to end up in a sale today. That's not the goal. The goal is not to get a listing today. Goal is to get a pipeline full of people that you are now in the way of. So whenever it does pop up in their life that somebody they know that needs to buy a home, needs to sell a home, you're the person that they're thinking of. That's what this is. This is long-term. Fortunately and unfortunately for a lot of us, we were able to get into this mastermind, start taking action, and started creating opportunities right away. And that's probably going to happen for a lot of you, especially if you're really good at connection and building trust and building rapport. But this is primarily supposed to be a longer term play to fill the pipeline up. Usually in this business, the work you do now will end up paying off in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. Like minimum 3 months is usually what it's going to take to start getting a payoff from what you're doing. But we do have those happy accidents. A buyer cycle is usually 18 to 24 months. That's what a buyer's typical cycle is. And a seller's cycle tends to be a little bit shorter, because when a buyer wants to buy, they start kind of going through all these problems. I don't know where I want to be. They start talking to their friends and family. They qualified, and then it kind of gets put on hold until it's an absolute must. A seller, usually life events happen. They have to buy, they have to sell. They're getting married, getting divorced, getting a new job, moving across the state, had lost some income, got some more income. Somebody passed away, something happened. There's a life event, and it usually becomes more of an imminent thing that they need to take care of where they're going to sell. It still requires follow-up, and the follow-up is what builds trust. When you're following up correctly with text messages, phone calls, and emails, how they communicate with you, that's where you start building trust. They start seeing you as a valuable resource. They start seeing you as somebody who does what you say you're going to do. So through communications with them and follow-ups, I like to create little Easter eggs. And I like to create little Easter eggs along the way. So when you see a kid looking for Easter eggs, they see something, they get so excited and they get, oh, look, there's another one. So what I do is I try and create those Easter eggs by saying, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. I'll follow up with that, and I'll do that. Whether if I don't say that and I just send them something, oh, Chris sent me something. But if I tell them that I'm going to do something, then I do an amazing job with what I provide, and I actually do what I said I was going to do. And I follow up with them to talk about what I said I was going to do and discuss with them to see if they had any questions. I become very valuable, but I also become very trustworthy, because I did what I said I was going to do. So I create the opportunity to build trust by telling them I'm going to do something, doing what I said I was going to do, and then following up with them to discuss that. I become a very reliable, very trustworthy person who provides a lot of value to them. And if I'm asking them questions, they're answering those questions, and I'm understanding them a little bit more. I'm able to understand where they're moving, why they're moving, what they're, what they've done to their house, the updates that they've done, some of the goals that they have with selling this house, some of the goals they have in purchasing their next house. Start understanding that more. And when they get that in tune with me and I get that in tune with them, that's where you really earn the business. The business is earned during this process, not at the closing table. So yeah, the business is not earned when you're sitting at their dining room table trying to close them. But that's what most people do. I need to sell my home. Great. I'll be over at 6 o'clock tonight with a list of the comps. You'll pick one. We'll figure out where it needs to be. And they're going to try and close them at the table because they felt they already had the connection, but they didn't. The seller had them come over because they just knew them, but they may not have liked them. They may not have trusted them, and they may not have seen their value. So it's our job to create that whole process and that whole system through the follow-up and through the communications. And when I'm talking about this, you'll see that many agents do the same thing, the same exact thing. Most agents, this is what they do. Like I just said, phone call, ring, ring, ring. Yeah, this is Chris, Century 21. Hey, Chris. So we've had a lot of things happen and we really need to sell our house and, it needs to get on the market quick. And, oh, that's awesome. I'll be over. Can I come over tonight? You want me to come over tomorrow morning? When are you going to be available? I'll be over there. I'll bring some comps. We'll talk about it and we'll be able to get this thing on the market ASAP. We could probably have it on the market by the weekend. And then we show up and we go through everything that's there. And I tell them, oh, I walk in and I say, oh, show me a little bit about your home. Show me. Oh, I didn't see that. You did this. Or that looks great. Wonderful. Awesome. We sit down and I try to close them on why I'm worth 6%, why we need to offer 3%, but I don't close them on any of that. I just put it in front of them and say, here's the price, the comps and everything. And you're going to pay this. And here's all everything. And they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're telling me my home's worth $50,000 less than what I thought it was? Because last year it was worth this and my neighbor sold for that and they got $100,000 more, $20,000 more. They had a line of people in this neighborhood. There's no way that my home is worth less than that now. No way, not going to happen. And then they're also going in and saying, and it's worth less and you're going to charge me this because you didn't build the trust. When we go through our process, which I'll cover in a second, the process is meant to build rapport, build trust so that through the entire thing, I am building myself up with my value. They see my value. They see that I'm trustworthy. They see that I'm somebody who does what they say they're going to do. They've seen about the company because I sent them the video. I've already had 6 or 7 opportunities of meeting them or talking to them on the phone to use VAK, to use rapport building skills, to mirror and match them so that they inherently like me. So when he sit at the table and we talk about the pricing and the commission, they may not like what I say. They may not like it, but they trust me. They trust that I know what I'm doing. They trust that I have their best interests in mind. And when I tell them about the commissions and they see that, they see the value in what I've done, now it's a logic instead of emotional purchase. With a seller, they're not as emotional because now they trust me. If they didn't trust me, it's an emotional reaction. No, you're an asshole. I can't believe you would say that. You devalued my home. And they may not even say that. That's what goes on in their head. Okay, thanks for coming over. Have a good night. And then you never get a call back. But when you do it the right way, you build the trust and we can talk and we can work through that. They already see the value. The commission is a secondary thing. The price becomes primary. We're able to communicate clearly and understand things. We're able to let them know what the process is and why we can do these things. And yes, we can try this, but this is really why. We've got all of the data and all of the information that backs all that up, but we didn't start with that. We started with connection. So most people, that's what they do. Get a call, put a package together, go to the house, walk around the house, sit down, try and close them. There's no building of rapport. They had one opportunity when they called them. The second opportunity, they're already in the house and they're trying to build rapport then. So they have 2 chances to try to build their trust and rapport with them when they were on the phone for 2 to 3 minutes and then when they showed up. We'll talk about everything when we come over. You'll tell me everything while you're moving, about the house, about the kids. Tell me. I don't want you guys to do that. We'll talk about the process and just reiterate some of those things in a minute. So if everyone does the same thing, what differentiates you as an agent? What's going to differentiate you? What's that? Yeah, we charge more. What differentiates you? I charge more. Why? Because I'm worth it. But that's our job, is to provide that value and show them why. If you showcase your value and create an experience as well as build rapport, creating an experience, that's what people want. People want an experience. They want to feel taken care of. They want to feel like this is an experience. They want to see the value. They want to be able to trust you. They want to be able to feel like somebody's walking with them, holding their hand through the whole process, not over here dictating like a conductor, telling them what you're going to do. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, and this. We need to be able to do that, but we need to be able to create an experience. And I give an example. There's a really cool video about creating an experience with people. What this guy does is he calls someone up on stage. He doesn't tell them what he's going to do. He just calls them up on stage. The guy comes up, stands up on stage. And when he stands on stage, he puts his arm around the guy and he looks at him. He says, "Are you ready?" The guy says, "Yeah." He goes, "But are you ready?" And he says, "Yes." So he says, "Okay, count to 6. And he goes, "Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They walked together because he said, he didn't tell them we're going to walk. He just said, count to 6. They turn around. He doesn't tell them to turn around. He just turns around, and the guy turns around with him, gives him a tiny little nudge, and he turns around. He says, what's half of 6? The guy says 3. He goes, okay, count to 3. 1, 2, 3. And they walked together. They walked around the entire room doing that. But then when they got done walking around the room, they get back to the start, and the guy stops and he goes, okay, we good? He says, yes, we're good. And he puts his hand like that, doesn't say a word, just puts his hand like that. And he goes, put your hands up. Guy puts his hands up in a fist or in open hands, and he puts his hands up. And as the guy puts his hands up, he starts pushing on the other guy in the front of the room. He starts pushing on him. So what did the other guy naturally do that he was pushing on? He pushed back. Why? Because I'm being pushed, I'm going to push back. So they push back, and he starts pushing harder, and the guy starts pushing harder. They both start straining, and you can see veins popping in their neck, and they're pushing each other back and forth a little bit, neither one of them moving. What is the main point of that experiment? The main point is you want to create a shared experience with people, and you won't even have to tell them what to do. They will follow you when they like you, know you, and trust you. But the minute that you don't have a shared experience, their natural reaction is when you push them or you tell them something, they will push back. It's a natural reaction of people. When you push them and put pressure on them, they will naturally push back. But if you create an experience, now we're walking together. I don't have to tell you to do anything. We're right here. You trust me. You know that I've got your best interests in mind. We're able to walk through this entire process. Be at the end. We created an experience. We didn't tell them what to do. We didn't put pressure on them to do something. And it's a really powerful visual when you see it. So, I'll do that some other time just to kind of get you to see that. Let's see, we got comments online. Yeah, and exactly. Instead of asking what's going on in their life to have to sell, we ask them other questions. So creating an experience is going to separate you from everybody else. Everybody else is going to be focused on the sale. They're going to be focused on the commission. They're going to be focused on, well, they're going to want me to discount. And I sold another home in this neighborhood and we sold it. They're going to want me to get that. They're so focused on those items and those things that you need to focus on the seller and the person and creating the connection, and you create a better experience. Ask questions, build rapport. Telling, like I said before, telling is not selling. Ask questions. Focusing on yourself. Here's another thing. Instead of telling people stuff, oh, I was just a master's emerald producer for Century 21, which was this much, and I did this many sales, and I also had a quality service award, which required this many people to give me this and tell me a great review about how awesome I am, and I sold your neighbor's house, and yeah, do you know the other person? No, well, it doesn't matter, but I sold their house too. And you're telling them about you. When you focus on yourself, it makes you a salesperson. But when you focus on them, it makes you a consultant and an advisor. If I put my focus on you and it's all about you and I'm asking you questions, and every time I ask a question, you tell me, I repeat and affirm, now you start to think that I understand you, I get you, I'm with you, and now I become a consultant and an advisor, not a salesperson. I'm not trying to sell you anything. All I'm trying to do is consult and advise and create the best experience for you. But even so, even doing all that, some sellers are commission focused. Some people, I was reading an article the other day, and the guy said, he goes, well, he's shopping for a home. He was looking for like 3 to 6 months. Every home they went into, the guy kept lowballing everything. The agent talked to him a little bit more and asked him, what's going on? He finally found the home that was perfect for him, the absolute perfect home. And the guy came in and did the same thing. And he's talking to him. He goes, do you not want this home? And he's asking him these questions. He goes, yeah, but my family doesn't pay full price for anything. If I paid full price for that home, I would be the laughing stock of my family. They would be making fun of me for paying full price. And he said, the Smiths don't pay full price for anything. You're not my son. You're not. And they'll joke about it the whole time while they're doing it. And so that there was, some people are just commission focused. Some people are like that. And we can't, if it's a seller that's commission focused, one thing you can do is give them like a commission menu in a way. Here's all of the services we provide. Which one would you like me to remove? I know that I'm the most valuable agent in this market, and I provide the most value with my company, with my services, with the things that we do. Here's a list of all of them. Tell me which ones you would like me to remove. Because the other agents are not doing those things. I know they're not doing all of these things. I can show you that they're not doing all these things. So which one would you like me to remove? Because if you want this level of service, it comes at a cost. You do get what you pay for. You don't go to Burns and get a burger wrapped in paper. You go to Burns and you get a $100 steak and a $25 side. You get what you pay for. There's value in those things. So I have to say, which ones of my services do you find not valuable that you'd like me to remove? And we're inherently we're just asking a question, and we're inherently creating value because we're making them tell us the things that they see that are valuable. Well, none of them, I don't want, exactly, because so they see that value. Also, if you become a discount agent or someone who's constantly giving rebates, that becomes your primary means of providing and delivering value. If you lead with that, if that's what you're known as, that is your primary means for delivering value. And it always becomes the focus. No matter how much you're already discounting, if someone is commission focused, they're going to ask for more off. It doesn't matter how much you're already discounting or how much you're devaluing the service or whatever you're doing. If that is your primary mode of creating value, they are still going to see that and ask for more off. It's natural. You go to a yard sale. Go to a yard sale. They don't see value in anything there, but they say, okay, well, I want it. Okay, it's $1. I'll give you 25 cents. It's already $1. You buy the same thing brand new is 20. You go to Goodwill, it's 10. It's $1. I'll give you 25 cents. It's just human nature for people when they're going and doing those sorts of things. So how do you do that? You become the most valuable agent in the world, or in their world. You will be compensated in direct proportion to the value that you provide. The more value you provide, the more valuable your services are, and they will inherently see that. A lot of times when we go through our process from start to finish, there is not a question about commission. There's a lot of times there is none. I had a guy tell me straight up on the phone when I was asking him and going through my pre-listing questions after we were done and I set the tone of what my next step was. He says to me, well, I'm just going to say this and I'm going to get it out. The way this market is, I don't see any way in chance. I don't see any chance in hell that I'm going to pay 6% for anything. I'm just telling you that now. So I aligned with him, completely understand the market the way that it is. I could definitely see how someone in your position would think that paying 6% commission would be a silly thing to do. And that's why when we show up tomorrow, that'll be one of the first things that we address with what's going on in the market and why there is value in doing things a specific way rather than another one. But I'll make sure is there any other questions that you have? I didn't object to him. I didn't tell him no. I aligned with him. Yeah, I completely understand why you'd think that. Went through the entire process, sat down at the kitchen table, told him exactly how things would go. Here's what's going on, explained the market through the process, through asking questions and answering his questions. And by the end of it, he didn't say a word about 6%. Signed at a full 6% commission without question, because he's like, holy shit, this guy knows his stuff. I want you on my side. Why? Because I don't want you on the other side. I don't want you coming against me. No, I want you on my side. So we saw that. Become the most valuable person in their world. You will be directly compensated by the amount of value that you provide. Lose the commission breath. Lose the commission breath. They can sense it. You've been around people before that you can just sense there's something off with them, that they're just not aligned with things. You know, a lot of times with salespeople, they're after the commission. The focus is not on the individual. The focus is on the sale and the commission. That's what commission breath is. You can smell someone who's just after the deal, not after providing value to the consumer. So lose the commission breath. Don't be attached to the outcome. It's not about the commission. It's about the consumer. Go become the most valuable agent in their neighborhood. And how do you do that? Neighborhood news through Moxie, adopting a neighborhood that you can get into and farm, using RSP, door knocking, delivering flyers, getting the phone numbers and calling, giving updates. You know, whenever one listing comes on the market, get into the neighborhood and tell them about how that listing may have affected the value of yours. Become the most valuable person in that neighborhood, in their neighborhood. That's what the true thing about farming is. You create that value. Ask the question, what's in it for them? Not what's in it for me, what's in it for them? That's what our series of pre-listing questions and our listing presentation is. It's a series of questions about what's in it for them. What are they looking to do? Why are they looking to do it? When are they looking to do it by? Who's going to stand to benefit most? What are the struggles that they perceive? What are the things that they've put into this home? How do they determine the value of that? It's about figuring out what's in it for them, not for me. And that's how you provide more value. Find out what's in it for them and give them more of those things that's in it for them. Give them all of the things that they're asking for. How else do you provide value? The law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity says, if I give you something, you are more inclined to give me something back. So I will give something to these people. I'm going to give something to my consumers. I'm going to give something to my farm. I'm going to give something to my sphere. Give something of value. They will get something. You will get something back. Annual equity reviews, amazing way to do this. Provide something of value. Should everybody know how much equity they have in their house? 100%. You know how much is in your checking account. You know how much is in your savings account. You know what's in your IRA. You know what's in your 401k. You know how much balance you have on your credit card. You know how much you've spent. You know what you know all of those things. But if you don't know what the value of your home is and how much equity you have and what your options are, then you are putting yourself to a detriment if you are not exercising those options and understanding what it means. So give them something. Annual equity reviews are awesome. Warren Buffett says this is his quote: price is what you pay, value is what you get. Price is what you pay, value is what you get. So the commission is what they pay, the value is what I give them. If I provide the value up front, price becomes less of an objection. But if I just go in and get straight to everything and put it on, here's the number, here's where it is, now they don't see value and price becomes the main focus. Becoming the most valuable agent in the world, easy ways to do that, like we talked about with farming. Become a master of a market, become a master of a specific niche, become a master of that area, understand the market trends, understand the HOA, the regulations, the rules, the changes. If you can become that kind of valuable person in their neighborhood, sending them newsletters about the things that are going on, because not everybody is on the HOA board, shows up to the meetings, sometimes I get the email from the HOA, I look at it, what's the topic? It says, I'm not reading that. I don't care about that topic. I don't need to see that. So how do you become more valuable? Do those things, become the master. Stalk the prospect. When I say that, don't do it illegally. Just stalk them, meaning understand them. Talk to them on social media, engage with them on social media, understand what's going on in their life. You're looking for points of commonality. How many points of commonality does it take to create a relationship? To earn trust? How many points of commonality does it take? 3. It takes 3 points of commonality to start to build that trust and earn that respect. 3 points. Anybody who has 3 points of commonality with somebody, they go, oh, they're kind of like me. They get a dog. They live in Apollo Beach. Their kids go to this school. All of a sudden now, my new best friend. So it takes 3 points of commonality. So create those points of commonality. Stalk them. Find them on Remind. Find them on Facebook. Find them on Instagram. Find them on those places. Pay attention to the text messages that you're going back and forth with. Pay attention to the phone calls. Create those points of commonality. What kind of car do they drive? Where do their kids go to school? Pay attention to those things, because with those points of commonality, you have that as an arsenal in your back pocket that you can create more rapport with them. The listing process. So this is one of the main focuses that we need to get down and really focus on. Like I said, the most people do: phone call, great, you're listing your home, wonderful, I'll bring the comps, we'll talk, we'll get the price, we'll get it on market, it'll be awesome, I'll take care of you, I got you. They show up, go through everything, talk to them 2 times, they're talking about their $500,000 asset and trying to understand why why the seller doesn't understand the things that they're telling them. Our listing process: prospect, pre-qualify, preview, price it, present it, position it on market. How many steps is that? 6 steps. Through those 6 steps, there's also confirming appointments and sometimes little follow-ups in between. So if you have at least 2 or 3 follow-ups or just confirming appointments in between that, before you present, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 connections with them, and you have at least 3 connections with a follow-up or a confirming appointment. That's 7 opportunities to connect with them. 7 opportunities to build rapport, 7 opportunities to mirror and match, 7 opportunities to build trust. And they do that inherently because communication is 7-38-55. 7% the words you say, 38% the tonality, the way you use those words, and 55% body language. That's what rapport takes. So if you're only texting with them, that's 7% of your ability to connect and build rapport. If you're only talking to them on their phone, that's 45% altogether of that's only half of your ability. But if you can create that opportunity to meet them in person, a preview before I sit down and tell them about price. So the first time I prospect, I'm talking to them or texting with them. The pre-qualification, I'm definitely talking to them on the phone or on Zoom. So I'm getting more of ability to connect with them. And then when I preview the home, body language becomes paramount. 55% just gets added on top of my ability to connect with them and build rapport. So I'm going to mirror and match them. I'm going to use their tonality. I'm going to use their eye contact. I'm going to shake hands the way that they do. I'm going to stand the way that they do. I'll move the way that they do. I'm going to listen to the words they say and say them. If they tell me they've got a phenomenal backyard that's just immense, yeah, you're right. That backyard is phenomenal. My goodness, this thing is immense. I'm going to use those words and connect with them more. So I'm doing all of those things and connecting so much more than what your normal average agent is. That's why our process is the way that it is. And then if I can confirm, hey, just touching base to confirm our appointment this evening to preview your property or to cover a few questions really quick before I come by and see the property, or confirm our presentation, or I call them and do that. Calling is better. But if I do that, now I just added in more. So we have 7 opportunities to connect and build rapport before you ever sit down and provide that value. You're creating your value proposition through this process. So prospect, pre-qualify. Pre-qualification is a series of questions. Where are you moving to? How soon do you have to be there? Tell me a little bit more about your home. What have you done to it? What upgrades and changes have you made? If you were going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it? What would make it a 10? How soon did you have to be there? Can you tell me some more about the driving factors of you moving? You know, have you considered selling your property on your own? You obviously see that you need more, you need more value in doing that. So we go through this process of pre-qualifying and asking questions. Then we set up time to do a preview. I can't properly price a home until I've seen it, especially some of the homes that are in some of our areas where you have 1950s and 60s homes sitting right next to 1980s and 90s homes sitting right next to a neighborhood that's got 2022 homes. I need to see your home. I need to see where the value is. I need to be able to help create that value. But the main focus here is not for you to go and, yes, it is to see the home. That's one of the points, but the main focus is here for you to build rapport. That's why we don't object to anything on the preview. No objections. If they ask a question that you have to, if they force the question about commission, you would just simply say, that's a great question. I really appreciate that comment. Why don't we wait until we sit down tomorrow? And I'll make sure that's one of the first things that we address is going to be that topic. Does that sound fair? I want to make sure that I get everything out there for you. This is just a really brief walkthrough of the home, and I don't want to bog you down with any of that information. That's what tomorrow is for. We'll be able to present everything to you. So just pivot off of all of those objections. We don't object to the paint color. We don't object to the furniture. We don't object to anything. You don't have to say it's amazing and it's awesome when there's dog crap on the floor, a hole in the wall. We're just observing, taking notes, writing everything down. Let them lead. Give them that opportunity to lead. Let them feel like they're in charge. Ask them a few questions. Get them to answer those questions during your preview. Then your pricing and your research. That's when you go home. That's when you put everything together. Get your Moxie presentation together. Get your source cost estimators. Put all of that stuff together. Confirm your presentation appointment. Show it back up for your presentation. All your script. Follow the script. For the script, basically, thank you for having me over tonight. This will only take between 5 and 25 minutes. Let's go have a seat at the kitchen table. Take control right from the beginning, and then follow your script and walk through that entire process. But this is here for a reason. This helps you create that value. If you have a process that you go through, trust me, if you don't have a process, or you say you don't have a process, you do. It's just not one that's serving you. You have a way that you're doing things already. Even if it's haphazard, you have a way of doing things that you may forget something or didn't do it that way, but that's the way you're doing it. That is your process. And your process is not serving you. It's not creating the best opportunities for you to generate another listing opportunity. What was I going to do next? Here's in being able to influence a seller. When you're talking to them, we have a certified pre-loved addendum that goes along with our listing that they can use if they want to do a certified pre-loved home. How do we create value to a seller? By telling him that you're going to have to spend $300 to $500 more than any other agent is telling them they're going to have to spend. Why should I pre-inspect my home? Well, how much is that going to, you guys don't pay for that? Well, the value is immeasurable when we know what, contracts cancel generally for one of two reasons. One of two reasons they cancel. One of three if you want to kind of carry them all together instead of lumping financing and appraisals together. One of three: inspections, financing, and appraisals. So if we can take out 33% of the chance that your contract may cancel, do you think that would be a very big value proposition for them? For $350, $400, we can do a pre-listing inspection and get that done, know what the issues are, fix those issues, which will allow us to in turn put more money in your pocket. Let me ask you a question. When you were buying that car, I noticed that you have a Lexus in the front. When you were purchasing that Lexus, did they have any other options other than just that Lexus? Was that the only option they had? No, they had other ones. Okay, they did have other ones, kind of like there will be other homes on the market for you to compete with. Now, if the one that you chose, was that certified Lexus? No, it wasn't. Did they have any other certified ones? Yes, no, whatever the case is. If they had your same home or your same car sitting right next to it, the one that you chose and one sitting right next to it that was certified, went through a 126-point inspection process, offered a warranty that would cover any issues, extended that warranty, and it was maybe $1,000 to $3,000 more, would you consider that? Would you have possibly considered that's the car you chose? You have the same exact car that's a little bit more, but they provided more value. Is that something you may have considered? It was going to be X amount of dollars per month. Because for $1,000, it's going to make me sign in. It didn't like what I was talking about. So we are going to sign you out. Play some elevator music for you. All right. So if you had that option, it's, I don't know, I think it's what, $100 a month. $100 a month for $10,000. I think it is what like a car is. So $1,000 is really $10 a month. So for $10 more a month, would you have considered a car that has a warranty that was extended for an extra 60,000 miles, had all these other things done to it and provided more value? You'd consider it for $10 more a month. That's only $120 a year over a 5-year span. That's only $600 over 5 years. That $600 will easily pay for the first repair that you have on that Lexus over 5 years. That's covered by the warranty. It's possible. So we're just trying to create some more value here. You don't have to do this. I just want to make sure that you understand that there is an inherent value in doing all of these things and showing them that. Why should I pay 6%? How do you influence someone to tell them why? How do you do it? How would you do that? If you follow our process, meaning one of the other steps in here, in the what I was showing you with the steps, the prospect, pre-qualify, preview, you're supposed to send them the listing presentation video before you go over. If you send them that video alone, there's something like 70 some points in there that are all value adds and value propositions that we have. So by the time you get to this point, the 6% isn't an issue. Most of the times the 6% is an issue. They're asking you when you first talk to them about, and they're saying, what do you charge? And you tell them straight up 6%. You had no opportunity. Said, that's a great question. So what I found in this business is price is what you pay, value is what you get. Let me show you what you get compared to everyone else. That'll be one of the first questions that we address when we sit down for a presentation. Does that sound fair? Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're charging this and they're charging that. I said, I don't think you heard me correctly. The price is only what you pay. The value is what you get. If I can show you that you're going to get more for what you pay, and I could show you how we can put more money in your pocket, does it really matter? Does it really matter? If I show you that I'll put $20,000 more in your pocket, does it really matter if I charge you $3,000 more? It's not about what you pay. It's about what you get. Why should I offer 3%? Letting them know that we have a lot of competition in here. When I say a lot of competition, I don't mean that there's tons of other homes. What I mean is the buyers, when they come in, there's not a lot to choose from. That creates a competition level where you're competing with 3-4 other homes plus the new builders. So you have to do things that make you stand out compared to them. If there's 20 other homes on the market, look, there's a lot for them to choose from. We have to do some things differently. But if you're one of the only ones for them to choose from, how do you differentiate? Because everybody else thinks their home is the best. They ran it up the flagpole to see who salutes. They're offering some down payment, something, they're offering this. We have to create some value, and we can show them in the market. Here's all of the commissions that are being offered. You can see here that at least 30% of them are 3%, at least 30% of them are 2.5%, at least 30%, or at least 30% or more than that. There's less than 10% offering 2% or less. Less than 10% offering that. And if you were going in my shoes, if you were an agent and you were showing properties and you saw that there was this and there was an incentive, there was a bonus, the builders are offering bonuses, professional marketing companies are offering bonuses, offering additional commissions, offering $1,000 cards for you to come in there and sell their product. If you were someone in my shoes and you were trying to get someone the best deal on something and you saw that, do you think that there would be a value proposition for you as an agent? Hey, I don't want the $1,000. I'll pass it on to you at closing. I just want to make sure you get the house that you want. So there is a lot of that can happen. Why should I offer incentives? Again, to make yourself stand out. How do you become more valuable than anybody else? Offering those incentives, letting buyers know. Before, you didn't have to do that because the buyers were going to buy and offer $20, $30, $50, $100,000 more. They were going to buy no matter what. Now the buyers have a little more time to think. They have a little more time to analyze. They have a little more time to justify with logic. Before, they were emotional purchases without the opportunity to justify with logic. They justified with logic through the process. And we had an as-is contract that they did an inspection on, that didn't appraise, that didn't this, that didn't that, and they're starting to crap in their pants and I don't know what to do. Now they have time to do that all up front. So we have to incentivize them and make it more valuable to them, offering those incentives, closing costs, rate buy downs, home warranties, giving them those opportunities. Again, cash buyers, how do they influence customers? Buy with emotion, justify with logic, going through it. It's an easy sale. Emotionally, it's an easy sale, going through all this. You don't have to this, you don't have to that. We'll take all of that out of here. And for that, we'll only charge you 10%. But I won't pay you 6. I'm going to pay them 10, and they're going to give me 10% less than what the value is, but I'm not paying you 6 to make me more money. You see how they get the emotional side, and then they end up locking them in with logic. Influence, again, look, my job is to tell you what it takes to sell your home. My job is not necessarily to tell you what your home is worth. My job is not to put my finger on it and say, yep, that's the number it's going to sell for. My job is to tell you what it's going to take to sell your home based on what the buyers are doing in this market. The buyers are determining the value of your home is probably going to be in this range. And my job is to tell you what it's going to take to sell your home in that range or possibly higher if we can create more value for it. Your job is to determine how many of those things you're willing to do to create that value. The buyer is the one who determines what your home is worth and what the value of your home is. Not me, not you, not the other agent that you interviewed, the buyer. So my job is to see what the buyers did. This is what the buyers are, this is what they did. This is what they're currently doing with pending sales. This is what they refuse to do with the active sales. And once we know that, that's my job. I'll tell you, this is what the buyers are doing. This is the range that it looks like we're going to be in. And if we're able to pre-inspect the home, offer some other incentives, create more value, we will bring more buyers. And when we bring more buyers, that confidence level in our ability to get more money goes up. And when we do that, we generate a sale. But your job is to determine how many of these things you're willing to do to create the most amount of value and put the most amount of money in your pocket. And then lastly, the two most important factors when selling a home are price and motivation. Those are the only two things that really matter. Well, condition, Chris, condition. Yeah, well, price and motivation are hard to overcome. I can overcome condition with price and motivation. Did you see homes a year and a half, 2 years ago, selling for a value that was not the value it should have been? It was a piece of crap. It had a ton of problems. The motivation overcame the condition. The motivation overcame all of those things. They were willing to pay whatever. It wasn't the price that said their motivation, because they were competing. They had all this. Price, motivation are the determining factors. For a seller, if we put the right price on it, then we're going to attract the most amount of buyers. That's why my previous statement, my job is to tell you where the value of the home should be. Your job is to determine what you're willing to do to create more value. And we put it at that price. And I tell you exactly what we think should happen. So the price and motivation are those factors. How motivated are you? Do you want to put more money in your home, or do you want to reduce the price? Do you want to offer this, or do you want to lower it here? So your job is to determine how motivated you are to do some more of those things. And with that, we have come to a conclusion of this program.
When during the presentation,
when during the presentation process do we suggest to the customer things that would make the house more presentable? I like to wait until after we've pretty well agreed on price. When they're in agreement with the price and condition, a lot of times they'll tell you too. They'll tell you about, they'll see another home and they'll say, well, I know this and I know that, and I did this, or I didn't do that. That one was nicer here. Once we can get into that general realm of price, then we can discuss the things that will create more value. So if you're in agreement with where the value of the home should be, if you're in agreement with that, the lower on that range we are, the higher my confidence is. The higher on that range we are, the lower my confidence is. And then in the same regard, the more that we're willing to do for that. And what are you thinking about doing? Well, even simple things like some curb appeal, painting the exterior, painting the interior, mulch, whatever those things are that are needed. I like to get through all of that and get an agreement on price. And then from there, as we start zeroing in, sometimes the price will be determined by what they're willing to do. So we get into that range and we start talking about those things at that point. But I want to have the rapport. I want to have the agreement on price. It doesn't have to be on the listing agreement. And I say, well, basically, if you're willing to do some more of these things, we can raise that price. Now they're motivated. They're motivated to make, because they see that they see where that price range is. We can, well, what kind of things are you talking about? Well, let's walk around the property. We could discuss and I can show you some things. And we can talk about those things then. Then once we have a listing agreement, we have it signed, we've agreed on price, they've agreed what they're going to do, then I'm going to do a full staging consultation. I'm going to tell them that their couch sucks, their rug is do this, their paint looks like that, your garage is a mess, you have to move stuff out. I'm going to give them all the things they need to do. If I did that beforehand, they're going to be like, oh my God, you want me to do all of that? And you're not going to, oh my God, they're going to get very overwhelmed. So I wait until the listing agreement is signed. I wait till we get through pricing, talk about the items that we probably need to address that will cost them money or cost them time for fixing. And then I go through a staging consultation, moving around furniture and things like that. Because I don't want to piss them off when I tell them that their antique thing in the corner, that's the size of, the size, a huge 10-foot long thing should probably need to be moved into the garage and go somewhere else. I don't want to hurt their feelings before that. So, all right, guys, have an awesome Wednesday.